The rain hammered down on the cracked sidewalk of Eldridge Bay like it had a personal grudge, turning the world into a blurred watercolor of neon signs and shadowed alleys. Alex Rivera stumbled out of the alleyway coffee shop, his heart slamming against his ribs as if it knew something he didn't yet, something that smelled like fresh betrayal and tasted like regret. And there, across the street under the awning of Voss Enterprises, stood Ronan Voss himself, the man whose every calculated smile in that damned novel had promised ruin. His piercing gray eyes locking onto Alex like a predator scenting blood for the first time. Alex had always been the type to lose himself in stories, the kind that wrapped around your soul like fog rolling in off the Pacific. Growing up in the sun-baked sprawl of Los Angeles, with his abuela's worn paperbacks stacked like sentinels on every windowsill, he devoured tales of forbidden loves and shattered empires. But nothing prepared him for the night he cracked open Shadows of Ambition, a gritty indie thriller by some reclusive author named Alara Kane. It was the villain who hooked him, Ronan Voss, the silver-tongued CEO of a biotech empire, whose charm masked a heart carved from ice and ambition. Ronan didn't just destroy lives. He unraveled them thread by thread, leaving his lovers broken and his rivals in ruins. Alex read it in one feverish sitting, his pulse racing not just from the plot twists, but from the way Ronan's fictional gaze seemed to pierce the page, straight into the quiet ache Alex kept buried deep. He'd finished the book at 3 a.m., the LA skyline glittering mockingly outside his tiny apartment window. God, what a bastard, Alex muttered to his empty room, flipping to the acknowledgments page just to ground himself. But as he set the book down, a wave of dizziness hit him, like the world tilted on its axis. The last thing he remembered was the spine of the novel digging into his palm, and then, nothing. Waking up in Eldridge Bay felt like stepping into a half-remembered dream, the kind where the edges frayed just enough to let in the chill of unreality. The city was a fictional jewel on California's northern coast, all jagged cliffs and mist-shrouded harbors, the kind of place where tech moguls built empires on the bones of old fishing villages. Alex blinked against the salt-laced air, his hands gripping a leather satchel that wasn't his. Inside, a faded ID card stared back. Alexander Rivera, junior analyst, Voss Enterprises. His photo matched, but the address was Eldridge Bay, 2047. The book had ended in 2045. 2 years. He jumped ahead. Panic clawed up his throat. This wasn't a hangover or a bad trip. This was transmigration, the trope he'd rolled his eyes at in fan forums. He'd read enough metafiction to know the rules. Side character, avoid the mains, survive the plot. And Ronan Voss? The villain didn't just kill off extras, he toyed with them first. In the novel, Ronan seduced a junior analyst named Theo, only to frame him for corporate espionage when Theo got too close to secrets that could topple the board. Theo ended up penniless, heartbroken, jumping from the cliffs of Blackthorn Point. Alex's new role? Theo's replacement. Fate's cruel joke. I have to stay away, Alex whispered to his reflection in a puddle outside the ferry terminal. His tan skin pale under the overcast sky, dark curls matted from the drizzle. At 27, he looked every bit the wide-eyed transplant the book described. Expressive brown eyes that betrayed too much, a lean frame honed from weekend hikes in the Hollywood Hills, now clad in a crisp button-down that felt like a noose. He was American through and through, born to a Mexican-American mom and a dad who'd bailed before Alex could walk. But here, in this borrowed skin, he felt like an imposter in his own life. The first week blurred into a haze of orientation meetings and stolen glances at the executive floor. Voss Enterprises loomed like a glass monolith on the waterfront, its lobby a cathedral of marble and holograms projecting gene-spliced roses that bloomed eternally. Alex buried himself in data entry, cross-referencing trial results for their latest neuroenhancement drug. Prometheus, the one that promised to rewrite human potential but hid a dark underbelly of addiction. He kept his head down, lunching alone in the rooftop garden where the wind whipped fierce enough to drown out his thoughts. But Ronan Voss was everywhere. Billboards along the bayfront touted his face. Sharp jawline shadowed with stubble, gray eyes like storm clouds over the ocean. Lips curved in that signature half-smile that said he knew your secrets before you did. At 35, he was the novel's apex predator. Pale skin from too many boardroom marathons, broad shoulders filling out tailored suits like they were forged for him. Born in the Rust Belt grit of Pittsburgh, Ronan had clawed his way to Eldridge Bay, building an empire on patents stolen from lesser men. The book painted him as irredeemable, a closeted gay man who used lovers as chess pieces, discarding them when they threatened his throne. Alex's strategy was simple: fade into the wallpaper. He rerouted his commute to avoid the executive elevators, declined every happy hour invite from the junior staff. Nights, he holed up in his cramped sublet overlooking the harbor, poring over the mental map of the plot. The inciting incident was months away, a whistleblower leak that would draw Ronan's ire. Until then, invisibility. Cracked on a Thursday, the kind of day where the fog clung so thick you could taste it. Alex was in the archive's basement, digitizing old trial logs, when the power flickered. Emergency lights hummed to life, casting long shadows across the stacks. Footsteps echoed, measured, unhurried. Alex froze, his back to the door, pulse thundering. Rivera, isn't it? The voice was velvet over steel, low and resonant, like the rumble of thunder just offshore. Alex turned slowly, and there he was, Ronan Voss in the flesh, sleeves rolled up on a charcoal shirt, tie loosened just enough to hint at the man beneath the myth. Up close, he was taller than Alex imagined, his presence filling the narrow aisle like smoke. Those gray eyes scanned him, not with malice, but curiosity, as if Alex were a puzzle half-solved. "Why, yes, sir," Alex stammered, hating how his voice cracked. He clutched the tablet like a shield, the screen glowing with rows of encrypted data. Ronan stepped closer, close enough that Alex caught the scent of him. Cedar and sea salt, undercut with something sharper, like ozone before a storm. "You're the new analyst on Prometheus. I've seen your notes. Precise, almost poetic." His gaze lingered on Alex's face, tracing the curve of his jaw, the faint scar above his lip from a childhood bike crash. It wasn't the predatory stare from the book. It was something warmer, almost human. Alex's stomach twisted. This wasn't in the script. Theo had been invisible until the seduction phase. "Just doing my job, Mr. Voss." "Ronan," he corrected, a flicker of amusement softening the edges of his mouth. He reached past Alex for a dusty file on the shelf, his arm brushing Alex's. Electric, unintended. Or was it? "And you? Call me Alex. Off the clock." Ronan's laugh was quiet, genuine, echoing off the concrete walls. "Off the clock. I like that. Tell me, Alex, what brings a city boy like you to Eldridge Bay? The book said you grew up in LA. Is sunshine and starlets." Alex's blood ran cold. How did he know? The ID, the resume, it was all there, but the casual intimacy. Just chasing a fresh start. This place has its pull. It does. Ronan's eyes darkened, as if sharing a secret. The fog hides things, makes you forget who you were. He straightened, file in hand, but didn't move away. "Join me for coffee tomorrow. The archives are no place for talent like yours." It was an order wrapped in invitation, the first thread pulling Alex toward the web. He nodded, words failing him, and watched Ronan vanish into the shadows. Alone again, Alex slid down the wall, knees to chest, breath ragged. One coffee. He could dodge after that. Stay away. But as the lights buzzed back on, illuminating the file Ronan had taken, marked classified, Voss personal, a chill settled in his bones. The plot was accelerating, and Alex was already caught in its undertow. The coffee meeting stretched into lunch, then a walk along the pier where gulls wheeled overhead like omens. Ronan talked, really talked, about the weight of legacy, his father's suicide after a failed merger, the loneliness of building something indestructible only to find it hollow. Alex listened, mesmerized, his walls cracking under the onslaught of vulnerability. This wasn't the Ronan from the book. This was a man, flawed and reaching. By the time they parted, Alex's hand lingered in Ronan's goodbye shake, a spark igniting low in his gut. That night, staring at the ceiling of his sublet, waves crashing below like accusations, Alex wrestled with the pull. He was gay, Had known since 16 when he'd stolen kisses with a classmate behind the bleachers. But love? It was a risk he'd always sidestepped, too afraid of the fallout in a world that still whispered slurs in boardrooms. Ronan Voss was danger incarnate. Power, beauty, the promise of everything Alex craved and feared. "Stay away," he murmured, but the words tasted like ash. Weeks bled into a rhythm. Stolen moments in the executive lounge. Ronan's texts lighting up Alex's phone with inside jokes about the board's hypocrisies. Alex told himself it was reconnaissance, gathering intel to navigate the plot, but the lies soured. He caught himself smiling at Ronan's rare grins, tracing the lines of tension around his eyes when no one watched. Eldridge Bay wove its spell. The Saturday markets with their stalls of heirloom apples and craft beers. The bonfires on Blackthorn Beach where locals strummed guitars under star-pricked skies. Ronan took him there once, their shoulders brushing as flames danced, and Alex wondered if this was what falling felt like. Terrifying, inevitable. The first fracture came subtly, a memo circulating about audit discrepancies in Prometheus. Alex's department was implicated, falsified logs from years back, buried deep. He knew the truth. Ronan's doing, per the book, to cover R&D shortcuts that bordered on unethical. But when Ronan pulled him into a late-night strategy session, maps of the company's labyrinthine finances spread across the conference table. His voice cracked with exhaustion. "I didn't build this to watch it burn, Alex. Help me fix it." And God help him, Alex did. Hours blurred, fueled by takeout pho from the Vietnamese spot downtown and Ronan's occasional touch. A hand on his shoulder, steadying. By dawn, the discrepancies were rerouted. Blame shifted to a retired exec. Ronan slumped back, rubbing his temples. "You're a lifesaver." Their eyes met, the air thick with unspoken things. Alex's heart hammered. This close, Ronan's cologne mingled with the stale coffee, his stubble a day's shadow. "Just repaying the favor," Alex said, voice husky. Ronan's gaze dropped to Alex's mouth, lingering. "Favor, right?" He leaned in, slow enough for Alex to pull away. But Alex didn't. The kiss was tentative at first, lips brushing like a question. Then deepening, Ronan's hand cupping Alex's neck, thumb tracing his pulse. It tasted of salt and surrender, years of Alex's guarded heart cracking open. When they broke apart, foreheads pressed, Ronan whispered, "I've wanted that since the archives." Alex's world tilted again. This wasn't the plot. This was real, raw, and unraveling everything he thought he knew. But as Ronan's fingers intertwined with his, Alex pushed down the warning bells. Maybe, just maybe, villains could change. Or maybe he was the fool, following the story straight to its end. The affair bloomed in the hidden crevices of Eldridge Bay, where the city's pulse thrummed softest. Alex learned Ronan in fragments. The way he hummed old Springsteen tunes under his breath while reviewing contracts. The scar on his knuckles from a bar fight in his Pittsburgh days. The quiet pride in his voice when he spoke of funding scholarships for queer youth in the Bay Area. They met in neutral territories first. A dimly lit speakeasy tucked behind a laundromat, where jazz piano masked their laughter. A hidden cove south of the city, where tide pools mirrored the stars and Ronan's hands mapped Alex's skin like uncharted territory. Sex was revelation. The first time, in Ronan's penthouse overlooking the harbor, walls of glass that made the world feel conquerable. Alex trembled under the weight of it. Ronan was patient, reverent even, peeling away layers with kisses that started at Alex's collarbone and trailed lower, each one a confession. "You're beautiful," Ronan murmured against his thigh, gray eyes dark with hunger. Alex arched into the touch, gasps swallowed by the crash of waves below, his body singing truths he'd never voiced. It wasn't just physical. It was Ronan seeing him, really seeing, the immigrant kid who'd coded his way out of poverty, the man who dated in shadows back in LA, always one step from exposure. Afterward, tangled in silk sheets that smelled of Ronan's aftershave, Alex traced the constellation of freckles across Ronan's chest. "This isn't me," he admitted, voice small in the vast room. "Hooking up with the boss. Feels like a plot twist I didn't see coming." Ronan propped on an elbow, his smile lazy, affectionate. "Life's full of those. And you? You're the best one I've had." He kissed Alex's temple, lingering. "Stay tonight." Alex did, and the next night and the one after. Mornings brought coffee brewed strong and black. Ronan in boxers flipping pancakes with a focus that bordered on comical. They talked dreams. Alex's half-formed novel about a coder falling for a ghost. Ronan's buried wish to fund a clinic for mental health in underserved neighborhoods. It was easy, intoxicating, the kind of intimacy Alex had only read about. He started to believe in redemption arcs, in the power of a touch to rewrite fate. But the plot whispered reminders. Whispers in the break room about Ronan's history. The ex who'd OD'd after their breakup. The rival who'd vanished after a hostile takeover. Alex shoved it down, focusing on the man beside him. The one who held his hand under the conference table during board meetings. Who left voicemails that cracked with exhaustion after 18-hour days. "Miss your voice, Rivera. Call me back." Eldridge Bay conspired with them. Fall deepened. Leaves turning the parks into tapestries of crimson and gold. They hiked the trails of Redwood Hollow, Ronan's arms slung casual around Alex's waist, pausing at overlooks where the ocean stretched endless. "Ever think about leaving all this?" Alex asked once, wind tugging at their jackets. Ronan's jaw tightened, gaze fixed on the horizon. "Every damn day. But empires don't run themselves. And you? Would you come with me? Somewhere quiet, like Maine. Lobster rolls and no suits." Alex laughed, but the seed planted. Maine. Haven Point with its lobster shacks and salt-kissed air. He pictured it. Mornings tangled in flannel. Ronan's laugh echoing off clabbered walls. "Maybe, if the plot allows." Ronan frowned, tilting his head. "Plot. Life," Alex corrected quickly, heart stuttering. Slips like that could unravel everything. The idyll fractured on a crisp November evening. Rain sluicing the streets like tears held too long. Alex was at his desk, cross-checking Prometheus efficacy reports, when his terminal pinged, an anonymous email, subject, "Truth Serum." Attached, schematics for the drug's black market variant, laced with addictive stabilizers that mimicked the novel's twist. Ronan had greenlit it, buried in sub-basements, profiting off desperation. Alex's hands shook as he forwarded it to IT for quarantine, but the damage lingered. That night, at Ronan's, he confronted it head-on, wine glass trembling in his grip. "The variant. It's real, isn't it? Selling hope in vials that hook users for life." Ronan stilled, mid-sip, his face a mask cracking at the edges. "It's complicated." The board pushed. "Complicated." Alex's voice rose, raw. "It's poison. You know it. People like my cousin back home, scraping by. They take it thinking it's salvation, end up ghosts." Ronan set his glass down, standing to pace the living room, city lights fracturing across his features. "I'm trying to fix it. The clean version launches next quarter. It's a bridge." "A bridge to what?" "More bodies." Alex's chest ached. The boy from the book bleeding into the man he loved. Betrayal tasted metallic, sharp. Ronan stopped, eyes stormy. "You think I don't see the cost? Every signature on my desk is a scar. But if I walk, they install Harlan, that snake would gut the company, sell it to pharmavultures. Jobs lost, research halted. I'm holding the line." "For how long?" Alex whispered, stepping closer despite himself. The air crackled, grief and fury twisting into need. Ronan pulled him in, kiss bruising, desperate. A collision of apologies unspoken. They fell to the rug, clothes shedding like old skins, bodies moving in rhythm to the storm outside. Ronan's hands gripped Alex's hips hard enough to bruise, his mouth a litany of "Stay, please, I need you," against Alex's neck. Alex surrendered, chasing oblivion in the press of skin, the salt of sweat and rain. Dawn found them spent, Ronan's head on Alex's chest, heartbeat steady under Alex's palm. "I'll end the variant," Ronan murmured, voice thick with sleep. "For you." Alex stroked his hair, throat tight. Lies or truth? The plot said betrayal next. Ronan framing the whistleblower, Alex's predecessor's ghost haunting them both. But here, in the gray light, hope flickered. "Promise me." "I do." Ronan's fingers traced Alex's ribs. Tender. You're my anchor, Alex. Don't let go. Work shifted after that. Ronan looped Alex into strategy sessions, his presence a shield against the board's circling wolves. They stole lunches in the executive garage, making out against the hood of Ronan's sleek electric coupe, fogging windows with laughter and heat. Alex started to breathe easier, the novel's shadow receding. He even drafted chapters of his own story, emailing snippets to Ronan late at night. Tales of lovers defying scripts, finding grace in the margins. But cracks spiderwebbed. Harlan Voss, Ronan's estranged uncle and board chair, began sniffing around. A gaunt man in his 60s, with eyes like chipped flint, Harlan embodied the old guard, whispers of his own skeletons, affairs that ended in payouts, a homophobia veiled in corporate piety. He cornered Alex in the copy room one afternoon, breath sour with mince masking scotch. You're Voss's new pet project. Careful, boy. He discards toys when they bore him. Alex's fists clenched, knuckles white. I'm no one's toy, Mr. Voss. Harlan's laugh was a rasp. Oh, but you are. And when he tires, because he will, remember who holds the strings. The warning lodged like a thorn. That evening, over dinner at a seaside bistro, candlelight dancing on Ronan's face, Alex probed gently. Harlan, he's gunning for you. Ronan's fork paused, jaw set. Always has. Thinks blood entitles him to the crown. But I've got leverage. His old indiscretions, tucked away. Blackmail. The word hung heavy. Survival. Ronan's eyes pleaded. It's not ideal, but it keeps him leashed. Alex nodded, but doubt festered. The kiss that followed tasted bittersweet. Ronan's hands urgent as if sensing the drift. They made love in the bistro's private booth after hours. The owner a discreet ally, tablecloth shielding their frenzy. Alex bit his lip to stifle moans. Ronan's name a prayer on his tongue, but as release crashed, so did the realization. Love in this world was a tightrope, one slip from the abyss. December brought holidays laced with tension. Eldridge Bay decked itself in lights, ferries strung with garlands gliding like ghosts on the bay. Ronan hosted the company gala at the Voss Ballroom, a cavern of chandeliers and champagne flutes. Alex, in a borrowed tux that hugged his frame just right, felt exposed, the gay analyst on the villain's arm, whispers trailing like smoke. They danced once, slow under the stars projected on the ceiling, Ronan's hand firm on Alex's waist. You clean up nice, Rivera, he teased, breath warm against Alex's ear. You too, boss. Alex grinned, but his eyes scanned the room. Harlan in the corner, nursing a drink, gaze predatory. The night peaked in disaster. Midway through Ronan's keynote, praising innovation, veiled shots at competitors, a server approached, slipping Alex a napkin. Scrawled, check the east wing. Now, heart pounding, Alex slipped away, navigating gilded halls to a locked office. The door yielded to his analyst keycard, perks of proximity. Inside, files, digital and paper detailing Harlan's embezzlement, but also Ronan's sign-off on the variance expansion, dated post-promise. Nausea roiled, betrayal sharp as a blade. Alex snapped photos with his phone, hands shaking, and fled to the balcony, rain-slick air slapping his face. Ronan found him there. Ty askew. What's wrong? Alex thrust the phone forward, voice breaking. You lied. The variant. It's growing. Ronan's face crumpled, then hardened. It's not what you think. Harlan forced. Stop. Tears stung Alex's eyes. I can't do this. You're the villain, Ronan, and I'm just the fool who followed. He walked away, gala lights blurring through unshed tears, the plot reclaiming its grip. But as Ronan's shout echoed, Alex, wait! A part of him wondered if fates could rewrite endings, or if some stories demanded their tragedy. Winter clamped down on Eldridge Bay like a vice, the bay freezing into sheets of fractured silver under relentless gales. Alex moved through days on autopilot, his sublette a cocoon of takeout containers and half-read manuscripts, the harbor's roar a constant dirge outside his window. He'd quit Voss Enterprises the morning after the gala, citing personal reasons in a terse email, but the truth clawed deeper. Heartbreak. the kind that hollowed you out and left echoes. Ronan's texts piled up, "We need to talk. Please. Then dwindled to silence, a void that echoed louder than any plea. Back in the job market, Alex landed a gig at Baytech, a scrappy startup in the warehouse district, crunching numbers for sustainable energy prototypes. It was worlds away from Voss's gloss, desks scarred from coffee rings, team potlucks with mismatched Tupperware, but the anonymity soothed. His colleagues were a motley crew. Jamie, the non-binary coder with neon hair and a laugh like fireworks. Marcus, the grizzled vet who baked sourdough on weekends. They dragged him to trivia nights at the Rusty Anchor, where craft IPAs flowed and the jukebox spun Springsteen. Ronan's ghost in every chord. Nights were harder. Alex dreamed in fragments. Ronan's mouth on his, the salt of skin. Harlan's leer, files spilling like blood. He woke gasping, sheets twisted, hand drifting south in futile chase of release. Masturbation lost its edge without the fantasy of gray eyes watching, without the rasp of mine in his ear. He threw himself into writing instead, his novel morphing from code to confession. A transmigrator navigating love's minefield, side character claiming the spotlight. Chapters flew from his fingertips, raw with the ache of what-ifs. January thawed into tentative blooms, crocuses pushing through the mud along the waterfront paths. Alex ran those paths, sneakers pounding pavement, breath clouding in the chill. It was on one such dawn, sun bleeding pink over the waves, that fate circled back, sly as a cat. His phone buzzed mid-stride. Unknown number. Coffee? Neutral ground. He almost deleted it. Almost. But curiosity or masochism won. They met at the Driftwood Cafe, a hole in the wall with mismatched mugs and views of derelict docks. Ronan arrived early, nursing black coffee, looking wrecked. Hollow cheeks, stubble edging toward beard, suit rumpled like he'd slept in it. At 35, the wear showed. Lines etched deeper around his eyes, but the fire still simmered. Alex slid into the booth opposite, arms crossed. This better be good. Ronan's gaze lifted, raw. I ended the variant. Full shutdown. Harlan's out. Resigned last week after the board saw the ledgers. Alex blinked, the words landing like stones in still water. Why tell me now? Because you were right. About everything. Ronan leaned forward, voice low, urgent. I've spent years building walls, thinking they'd protect me. From Dad's shadow, from Harlan's games, from myself. Being queer in this world, it's a liability I armored against. But you slipped through. Made me want more. Alex's throat tightened, old hurts flaring. Want more until the plot twists. You framed Theo. You'd frame me. Ronan recoiled as if slapped. Theo? Who? The analyst before me. Your ex. The one you broke. The book's details spilled. Alex's filter fraying. He clamped his mouth, but damage done. Ronan's brow furrowed, confusion sharpening to suspicion. How do you know his name? It was sealed, NDA'd to hell. Panic iced Alex's veins. I heard rumors. Bullshit. Ronan's eyes narrowed, the CEO resurfacing. You've been playing me from the start. The questions, the timing, you knew about the files before I did. No, Alex's voice cracked. It's not like that. I cared about you. Ronan stood abruptly, chair scraping. Stay away, Alex. For both our sakes. He tossed cash on the table and walked out, rain swallowing his form. The rejection stung worse than the first, a fresh scar over the old. Alex buried it in work, Baytech's chaos a bomb. They landed a grant for wave energy harvesters, and Alex's models were key praise from the CTO, beers with the team. Jamie clocked his mood one evening over wings at the Anchor. Spill Rivera. You've got that kicked puppy vibe. Alex hesitated, then cracked open, just enough. X-drama. The kind where you think it's fate, then bam, reality check. Jamie nodded, wise beyond their 24 years. Fate's a bitch, but queer love? It's resilient. Remember that kid in Portland who fought his company for his husband's benefits? 1-2. You deserve that fight. The words lingered, a seed. Alex texted Ronan one last time. I'm sorry. For everything. No reply. He threw himself into the novel, pages piling. His protagonist confronting the villain, not with swords, but truths. Eldridge Bay spring fever hit hard. Festivals with food trucks slinging crab rolls and craft ciders. The air thick with possibility. Fate, undeterred, struck again at the Baytech Gala. A modest affair in a converted cannery. String lights twinkling over keg stands. Alex was mid-conversation with Marcus about turbine efficiencies when the doors swung open, admitting a ghost. Ronan, crisp in navy, flanked by security but alone in intent. Their eyes met across the room, a jolt like live wire. Ronan wove through the crowd, determination etched in his stride. Alex, Mr. Voss. Alex's tone iced over, but his pulse betrayed him. Ronan. He stopped close, voice pitched for Alex alone. I've been an ass. Let me explain properly. Dinner. Tomorrow. Alex's laugh was bitter. Why? So you can spin more webs. No webs. Just truth. Ronan's hand brushed Alex's wrist. Fleeting. I miss you. Every damn day. The touch ignited embers, but Alex pulled back. I need time. Ronan nodded, jaw tight. Fair. But I'm not giving up. He vanished into the night, leaving Alex adrift in laughter and clinking glasses. Time became a torment. Alex ran harder, wrote fiercer, but Ronan haunted the margins. A Voss Enterprises truck idling outside Baytech. A donation to the startup's queer employee fund with Ronan's name attached. Whispers spread. Voss cleaning house. Harlan exiled to a consulting gig in Reno. The villain reforming or consolidating power. The dinner happened on a whim, Alex's resolve crumbling under a particularly grueling week. They met at La Serena, a cliffside spot with tables cantilevered over the drop, waves a symphony below. Ronan arrived with a bottle of Pinot Noir from his private cellar, label yellowed with age. To Bridges, he toasted, eyes earnest. Over seared scallops and stories, Ronan's first crush on a college roommate, hidden in dorm shadows. Alex's abuela's tales of lovers defying borders. Walls tumbled. I was scared, Ronan admitted, glass midway to his lips. Of losing control. With you it felt real. Terrifying. Alex reached across, fingers lacing. It still does. The kiss outside was inevitable. Rain-kissed and hungry. Ronan backing him against the restaurant's stone wall. Hands roaming with pent-up need. They tumbled to Ronan's place. A frenzy of shed layers and gasped names. Bodies rediscovering rhythms lost. Ronan took his time, worshipping. Tongue tracing hip bones, fingers curling just so, drawing cries from Alex's throat. I love you, Ronan breathed into his neck, the words a dam breaking. Alex shattered, tears mingling with sweat. Love you too. God, I do. After, in the quiet, Ronan traced Alex's spine. Move in. Let's build something real. Temptation warred with caution. The plot's climax loomed. A boardroom coup where Harlan returned, venomous. But Alex silenced it, nodding. Yes. Spring unfurled in tandem. Their life a tapestry of domestic bliss laced with passion. Mornings. Ronan in the kitchen. Alex draped over his back, stealing bites of toast. Afternoons. Stolen trysts in Ronan's office. Desk cleared for more urgent pursuits. Alex's moans muffled by Ronan's palm. Evenings. Walks on Blackthorn Beach, hand in hand, the bay a mirror to their fragile peace. But shadows lengthened. Harlan's emails surfaced. Veiled threats. Digging into Alex's past. Twisting his LA roots into opportunist smears. Ronan intercepted them, fury blazing. He won't touch you. Yet doubt crept. One night, post-love. Ronan asleep, chest rising steady. Alex slipped to the study, rifling drawers. A file, Rivera dossier. Photos from L.A., Abuela's address. Notes on Alex's sudden knowledge. Surveillance. Ronan's doing? Betrayal round 2. Alex confronted him at dawn. File slapping the counter. You spied on me? Ronan paled, then deflated. Protection. Harlan was closing in. I had to know. Know what? That I'm not a plant. Tears burned. I'm done, Ronan. For real this time. He packed that day, Baytek his harbor. The novel's words mocked. The side character flees, but the villain always pursues. Alex wondered if escape was illusion, fates entwined beyond pages. Summer scorched Eldridge Bay into a haze of golden heat, the kind that baked secrets into the asphalt and turned the harbor into a shimmering mirage. Alex threw himself into Bayteka's expansion, their wave energy prototype splashing headlines in the local rag. Local startup harnesses tides of change. The win bought him distance. A promotion to lead analyst, a corner office with a view of the shipping cranes, Jamie's relentless optimism pulling him to pride parades where rainbow flags snapped like promises. He danced under confetti skies, body pressed to strangers in the crush, chasing echoes of Ronan's touch. It helped marginally, the ache dulled to a throb survivable. But Ronan persisted, a specter in tailored wool. Bouquets arrived at Baytek, wildflowers from the cliffs, notes in Ronan's slashing script. Thinking of you. Always. Alex trashed them, but kept one petal pressed in his novel's pages. A talisman or curse. Whispers filtered through. Voss Enterprises pivoting to ethical AI. Ronan testifying before State Senate on addiction recovery funding. Redemption, public and polished. Alex scoffed over beers with Marcus. PR stunt. Villains don't change. People do, Marcus rumbled, nursing his stout. Served with enough like him, hard shells, soft centers. Give it time. Time mocked. August brought a heat wave that drove everyone to the beaches. Blackthorn Point thronged with picnickers and kites. Alex went alone, book in hand, his own now 200 pages deep, claiming a spot on the dunes. The sun dipped low, painting the waves bronze, when a shadow fell. Ronan, in board shorts and a faded tee that clung to his torso, towel slung over shoulder. No entourage, just him, pale skin kissed gold by weeks of, what? Waiting? Mind if I join? Ronan's voice was rough, tentative. Alex's gut twisted. Free country. Silence stretched, broken only by surf. Ronan sat cross-legged, sand dusting his thighs, gaze on the horizon. I sold the penthouse. Too many ghosts. Alex's pen stilled mid-note. Where to? A cottage in Haven Point, Maine. Applied for the clinic director gig, pro bono work mostly. Starting over. The words landed soft, revolutionary. Alex searched his face. No guile, just quiet resolve. Why tell me? Because you started this. Made me see there's life beyond the throne. Ronan turned, gray eyes steady. I'm sorry, Alex. For the dossier, the lies. I was scared. Of losing you, of being unworthy. Unworthy. The villain's lament. Alex's resolve cracked, tears pricking. You broke me, Ronan. Twice. I know. Ronan's hand hovered, then dropped. I'd do anything to fix it. The anything came in waves. Ronan volunteering at Bayteka's community outreach, his biotech expertise streamlining their grant apps. Quiet coffees where he listened, really listened, to Alex's novel drafts without judgment. No pressure, just presence, a man unlearning power plays. Alex found himself texting back. Good luck in Maine? Ronan's reply, only if you visit. No strings. Fall crept in, leaves carpeting the paths in rust. Alex's novel hit a snag. The climax, where protagonist and villain clash, truths exploding like fireworks. He drove to Blackthorn one stormy afternoon, notebook sodden, seeking clarity. The cliffs loomed, wind howling like the book's final scene. Theo's leap, despair's embrace. Alex teetered on the edge, metaphorically, heart pounding, rain blinding. A car crunched gravel behind him. Ronan's rental, headlights cutting fog. He burst out, coat flapping. Alex! What the hell? Needed air. Alex shouted over the gale, but his voice wavered. Ronan reached him, gripping his arms. Not here. Not like this. He pulled Alex back, into the car, heater blasting warmth. They sat, dripping, silence heavy. Why'd you come? Alex finally asked. Tracked your phone. Old habit, sorry. Ronan winced. But I couldn't. If something happened. The confession hung, vulnerability raw. Alex leaned over the console, kissing him fierce, salt and storm, forgiveness in the press. They drove to Ronan's temporary rental, a beach shack with creaking floors, tumbling inside like the world might end. Clothes shed in heaps, Ronan's mouth everywhere. Knees, thighs, the curve of Alex's back. Worship slow, deliberate. "Let me show you," he murmured, fingers slick, entering Alex with care that bordered on reverence. Alex keened, nails raking Ronan's shoulders, their rhythm a dialogue of hurt and healing. Climax shattered them. Ronan's, "I love you," sobbed into Alex's neck. Morning brought clarity, tangled limbs and brewed tea. "Maine," Alex said, tracing Ronan's jaw. "Tell me about it." Ronan did, cottage with a widow's walk, clinic serving fisherfolk with therapy circles on the docks. "It's small. Real. Join me?" Alex hesitated, the plot's endgame flashing. Harlan's return, a final betrayal. But this felt beyond pages. Maybe, after the launch. The launch party was Bayteka's triumph. Prototype unveiled at the waterfront pavilion, dignitaries toasting under marquee lights. Alex shone, presenting data with poise, Jamie whooping from the sidelines. Ronan lurked at the edges, invited as donor, his pride palpable in stolen glances. Mid-speech, chaos erupted, protesters breaching barriers, signs decrying corporate greenwashing, but laced with Voss smears. Voss poisons waters, now cleanses conscience? Harlan's handiwork, faces from his old network. Security swarmed, but a rock shattered a light rig, sparks flying. Alex dove instinctively toward Ronan, across the fray, tackling him clear as glass rained. In the aftermath, cuts bandaged in a med tent, adrenaline fading, Ronan cupped Alex's face. "My hero. Team effort." Alex grinned, but shadows gathered. A slipped note in his pocket, Harlan's scrawl. "He's using you. Check the clinic funding, my money, my rules." Doubt reignited. That night, alone, Alex dug. Public records showed Harlan's shell company seeding the main clinic, strings attached. Leverage, not love. He confronted Ronan over video call, screen grainy with distance. "Harlan's funding your fresh start. What's the catch?" Ronan's face fell. "I cut ties. He's bluffing." "Prove it." Alex's voice hardened. "Or I walk for good." Ronan's eyes glistened. "Give me 48 hours. The wait was agony. Alex pacing his sublet, novel abandoned, heart a war drum. Ronan delivered. Leaked docs, Harlan's fraud exposed, clinic funding rerouted to transparent grants. "It's done," Ronan said, voice weary. "But it cost me, lawsuits pending." Alex exhaled, relief flooding. "Come back. We'll face it together." Ronan arrived by dusk, train-tired but smiling. They celebrated in Alex's bed, slow and sweet. Ronan's tongue laving his chest, hands pinning wrists with gentle command. Alex riding him to a symphony of sighs. "Partners," Ronan whispered post-bliss. "In everything." Winter loomed again, but this time with promise. They planned. Alex wrapping Baytek loose ends, Ronan testifying against Harlan in spring court. Holiday lights twinkled as they strolled the markets, fingers laced. Ronan buying Alex a leather-bound journal inscribed to my plot twist. Laughter came easier, touches lingered. Yet the axe hovered. New Year's Eve, fireworks blooming over the bay. A call shattered the revelry. Harlan, arrested but vengeful, had doxed them. Photos online. Alex's abuela's home circled in red. Slurs painting Ronan the predator. Alex the gold digger. Threats flooded inboxes. Fags deserve the fall. Terror gripped. Alex's hands shook as he scrolled. Ronan's arms steel around him. "We fight," Ronan growled. "Lawyers, security, whatever it takes." But fear festered. Abuela called, voice quavering from Ella. "Mijo, strangers at the door, asking about you." Alex broke then, sobbing into Ronan's chest. "I can't drag you or her through this." "You're not." Ronan tilted his chin. "We're stronger." The storm peaked in February. Harlan's trial a media circus in San Francisco. Alex testified remotely, voice steady, recounting the surveillance, the smears, his queerness weaponized, identity stripped for sport. Ronan took the stand, unflinching. I failed him once. Not again. Harlan's poison ends here. Verdict: guilty. Relief washed, but scars remained. Therapy sessions where Alex unpacked the transmigration's weight. Ronan beside him, holding space. You're real to me, Ronan said one evening post-session, as they drove coastal twists. Pages or not. Alex froze. What? Ronan glanced over, soft. Your slips. The book. I pieced it, Theo, the plot. You're from outside, aren't you? Truth crashed. Alex nodded, tears flowing. I tried to stay away, to survive. Ronan pulled over, kissing him fierce. You did more. You saved me. Spring bloomed tentative, their bond tempered. But fate, capricious, dealt one last blow. Ronan's diagnosis, early lymphoma, caught from routine scans. Treatable, he insisted, but fear shadowed his eyes. Alex's world tilted anew. We beat this. Together. As treatments loomed, Alex wondered. Redemption or requiem? The novel closed, but their story, raw, human, wrote on. The diagnosis hung over Eldridge Bay like a pall, summer's heat turning oppressive, the air thick with unspoken dread. Ronan dove into treatment with the same ferocity he'd wielded in boardrooms. Chemo sessions slotted between clinic consults, his frame thinning but spirit unbowed. Alex became sentinel. Mornings blending green smoothies in the cottage kitchen they'd rented sight unseen in Haven Point. Evenings reading aloud from his novel, voice steady where Ronan's faltered. Maine unfolded around them, a quaint coastal village of weathered shingles and lobster buoys bobbing in the inlet. The clinic a beacon of repurposed lighthouse with therapy rooms overlooking tidal flats. Haven Point embraced them warily at first, locals murmuring about the city slicker CEO and his fancy analyst. But Ronan's hands-on work won them over. He led support groups for grieving fishermen, his voice gravel rough from meds but laced with empathy forged in personal fires. Alex shadowed, crunching data for grant expansions, his presence a quiet anchor. They found rhythm in the mundane. Bonfire nights with neighbors swapping chowder recipes. Ronan's head in Alex's lap as fiddles played, stars wheeling overhead. Intimacy shifted, tender where once fierce. Ronan's body betrayed him. Fatigue stealing stamina, nausea curbing appetites. But Alex adapted, love a language of whispers and caresses. Nights, he'd map Ronan's skin with fingertips, tracing port scars like constellations, mouth following to elicit shivers. Still want you, Ronan murmured once, hand guiding Alex's lower, their joining slow, profound. Eyes locked, breath sinking in the salt brine dark. It wasn't conquest. It was communion, reaffirming life amid fragility. Alex's novel surged, chapters pouring as if the words had waited for this crucible. He wrote their story veiled, the transmigrator healing the villain, fates not forcing but choosing union. Ronan read drafts by lamplight, edits scribbled in margins. More hope here. We get that. Laughter threaded the hard days, Ronan's dry wit surfacing. If I lose my hair, you buying me a wig? Something fierce, like Johnny Depp's pirate phase. Deal, Alex teased, kissing his bald crown post-second round. But only if I get to rum your beard. Remission flickered in July scans, tumors shrinking, markers dipping. Celebration was quiet. A picnic on the widow's walk, lobster rolls from Sal's shack. Ronan's hand in Alex's as gulls cried victory. We're winning, Ronan said, voice thick. We are. But Alex's eyes held shadows. The plot's echo, a whisper of bi-karma. Harlan's conviction hadn't silenced all foes. Anonymous tips surfaced, Voss holdouts probing Ronan's weakness, painting him vulnerable for takeover. The blow landed in August, a boardroom ambush via proxy, Voss Enterprises interim council voting to oust Ronan, citing health concerns and ethical lapses from the variant scandal. He learned mid-clinic session, phone buzzing insistent. Face ashen, he excused himself, Alex following to the lighthouse's base where waves gnashed rocks below. They're stripping it all, Ronan said, voice hollow. The company, my legacy. Alex pulled him close, wind whipping. It's not your worth. You built the clinic. That's legacy. Ronan clung, sobs muffled in Alex's shoulder. The villain unmasked, just a man unraveling. What if I drag you down too? Never. Alex cupped his face, kissing tears saltier than the sea. We're beyond that. Rebuilding started small. Ronan consulting freelance for Bayteka's main outpost, Alex pitching his novel to indie presses. Rejection slips piled, but one lit agent's email glowed. Intriguing meta layer. Let's talk. Hope, fragile bloom. Fall painted Haven Point in fire. Maples blazing along dirt lanes, harvest fairs with pumpkin-spiced everything. They volunteered at the Pride Bake Sale. Ronan in a ridiculous apron slinging whoopie pies. Alex's laughter drawing stares turned smiles. Community knit them in. Mrs. Ellis from the clinic gifting knitted scarves, young Levi, a teen grappling with coming out, seeking Ronan's ear after hours. One evening, post-group, Levi lingered, eyes downcast. How'd you know? About liking guys. Ronan knelt, gentle, felt it young, like a song stuck in your chest, waiting for words. He glanced at Alex, waiting by the door. And when you find someone who hears it, world shifts. Levi nodded, hugging quick before fleeing. Ronan sagged against Alex afterward, spent. Kids like him, that's why. Love deepened in layers. Sex evolved. Ronan stronger now, reclaiming agency with a hunger that left Alex boneless. One stormy night, thunder rumbling like applause, Ronan pinned him to the kitchen table, mouth devouring, fingers thrusting deep as Alex arched, cries lost in the gale. Mine? Ronan growled, entering with a snap of hips, their pace frantic, affirming. Alex came undone, nails scoring Ronan's back, love a mantra on his lips. But winter whispered threats. Ronan's follow-up scans loomed, and a letter arrived, certified, from L.A. Abuela's health failing, pneumonia gripping her lungs. Come home, she pleaded in shaky script. Family needs you. Alex booked the flight, Ronan insisting on coming. We're packed now. L.A. was a whirlwind. Traffic snarls and smog-choked sunsets. Abuela's bungalow in Echo Park fragrant with tamales despite her bedbound frailty. Ronan charmed, chopping onions for pozole, holding her hand as stories flowed of Alex's childhood mischief. He was always dreamer, she rasped, patting Ronan's cheek. You ground him. Good. Tears pricked. We'll bring you east, Abuela. Fresh air. She smiled, fading. Ronan stepped out during her naps, giving space, but one night, as monitors beeped soft, he whispered to Alex on the porch, if she goes, I'm here. She rallied, stubborn as her stories, discharged with home care. Relief buoyed the return flight, hands clasped over armrests. But airport security flagged Ronan. A holdover warrant from Harlan's mess. Extradition threat. Hours in holding, Alex pacing outside, heart in throat. Cleared by dawn. Lawyers earning keep. They collapsed into Haven Point's quiet, bodies entwined in exhaustion-fueled need. Ronan took Alex against the shower wall, water cascading, thrusts desperate. Never leaving you, gasped between kisses. Alex wrapped legs tight, meeting each drive, release a catharsis. Spring 2049 bloomed with milestones. Ronan's all-clear scan, confetti exploding in the clinic parking lot. Alex's novel accepted, Echo's unwritten hitting shelves in indie shops. Book tour beckoned, Boston, Portland, Ronan tagging along, road tripping in a vintage Mustang, motels their love nests. In a Portland B&B, candlelit, Ronan on knees. Marry me? Ring simple platinum, engraved fates entwined. Alex's yes was tear-choked, sealing with lovemaking that spanned hours. Ronan's tongue coaxing multiples, Alex reciprocating with devotion, their union a vow etched in moans. A climax brewed. Voss Enterprises, leaderless, teetered. A merger proposed with a rival firm, ethics dubious, echoing the variant sins. Ronan, drawn back, testified against, voice ringing in congressional halls. Innovation without humanity is tyranny. The hearing exploded. Leaks tying the merger to political bribes. Ronan named whistleblower. Retaliation swift. Clinic defunded overnight. Anonymous donors pulling strings. Haven Point reeled. Patients scrambling. Ronan shouldering blame. Alex found him on the lighthouse steps at midnight, head in hands. I ruined it. No. Alex knelt. Fierce. You saved it. We'll rebuild. Betrayal's ghost rose. Was this the plot's end? Villain felled by hubris? Ronan confessed, voice breaking. I knew the risks. Took them for the greater good. Like the variant? Hurt flared, old wounds. Ronan flinched. Worse. I involved you, hoped your data models would flag it early. Alex recoiled. You used me? Protected. But yes, selfish. Tears tracked Ronan's face. Leave if you must. Storm raged inside Alex. Love warring fury. He walked the cliffs till dawn. Waves a roar mirroring turmoil. Return found Ronan packing bags by door. Stay, Alex said, voice raw. Fight with me. Ronan's eyes searched, hopeful. Why? Because villains deserve grace. And I love you. Plot be damned. Embrace followed, fierce, tumbling to the rug in a tangle of limbs and shed clothes. Ronan's mouth claimed every inch, apology in licks and bites, entering Alex with a sob. Slow builds to shattering peaks, bodies won in defiance. Summer closed the circle. Clinic saved by grassroots surge, Alex's book climbing charts, their wedding planned for Blackthorn Beach, vows under autumn oaks, Jamie officiating, Abuela beaming from a wheelchair flown in. Yet in quiet moments, Alex wondered, was this the after, or merely interlude? Fates, after all, loved surprises. Autumn 2049 draped Haven Point in velvet golds, the air crisp with cider mills and leaf-choked lanes, a prelude to the wedding that felt less ceremony and more culmination. Alex and Ronan's union was intimate. 50 souls on Blackthorn Beach at sunset, waves lapping a makeshift isle of driftwood and wild asters. Abuela, frail but fierce in a shawl of crimson, gripped Alex's arm as they walked, her whisper mi orgullo, a balm to old fears. Jamie, in a suit of electric blue, bound their hands with kelp cord, words weaving humor and heart. From villains to vows, may your story rewrite every ending. Ronan, in linen pale as sea foam, eyes shimmering, slipped the ring on with trembling fingers. You pulled me from the pages, Alex, into light. His kiss sealed it, salt-lipped, profound. Cheers erupting as gulls wheeled approval. The reception spilled into bonfires, fiddles lilting, Ronan twirling Alex under stars till feet ached, bodies later finding rhythm in the cottage loft. Wedding sheets rumpled under urgent hands. Ronan's touch was worship, fingers curling inside, mouth coaxing cries. They're joining a sacrament, love's depth in every thrust and gasp. Honeymoon was a road odyssey. Mustang hugging coastal curves to Acadia. Trails where moose grazed mist-shrouded. Nights in cabins with firelight painting skin amber. They made love by hearths, Ronan's strength renewed, taking Alex against log walls. Slow grinds building to fervent peaks. Husband, breathed like prayer. Alex reciprocated, straddling Ronan under quilts, riding waves of pleasure, names a litany in the wild. Back in Haven Point, life layered anew. The clinic thrived, Ronan's groups expanding to virtual reaches, touching lives from Seattle's underbelly to Texas oil towns. Alex's echoes unwritten soared, Netflix option buzzing. Producers eyeing a series, meta-blending his transmigration with Ronan's reform. He wrote sequel outlines at the Widow's Walk, Ronan beside with tea edits gentle. Lean into the humanism. That's us. Winter tested. Abuela's decline accelerated. Flights shuttling them to LA where monitors beeped dirges. Ronan held vigil, reading her Spanish romances aloud, his accent charming her chuckles. Your family now, she told him, hand frail in his. Her passing came gentle. Sunrise over Echo Park palms. Alex's head on her chest, Ronan's arm anchor. Grief carved deep, but they mourned together. Scattering ashes on Blackthorn, Stories shared over tequila sunrises. Love a bridge over sorrow. Spring 2050 brought rebirth. Ateca's main branch flowered. Alex commuting hybrid. His models powering tidal arrays that lit coastal homes green. Ronan guest lectured at local colleges. Queer youth hanging on tails of corporate closets cracked open. Their home evolved. Cottage expanded with a studio for Alex's writing. Walls lined in first editions. A nursery corner whispered of someday. Intimacy remained hearth. Mornings waking to Ronan's mouth on him. Lazy sucks drawing whimpers before coffee. Evenings where Alex knelt, taking Ronan deep, throat working till release spilled hot. It was varied, toys from Portland shops, roleplay echoing their origins. Ronan as villain, binding Alex playful. Dominance yielding to tenderness. Climax crested unexpected. Voss Enterprises post-merger fallout imploded. Execs indicted for the bribes Ronan exposed. A class action suit named him beneficiary. Not culprit, reparations funneled to addiction funds. His name cleared eternal. Media frenzy followed. From tycoon to trailblazer. Profiles humanizing the reformed rogue. Ronan deflected to the clinic, but Alex saw the toll. Nights where doubt resurfaced. Am I worthy of this peace? You're more? Alex affirmed. Pulling him to bed, bodies aligning in reassurance. Ronan bottoming rare, vulnerable, Alex's thrusts measured, kisses mapping scars. Climax a shared sob of absolution. Summer solstice marked year 1. Beach picnic mirroring proposal. Ring renewed in sand-scratched vow. But fate, ever the dramatist, unveiled its final act. A letter, elegant vellum, from Alara Kane, the novel's author. Shadows of Ambition was autobiographical, veiled. Ronan her cousin, estranged. The villain, a composite born of family rifts. Your book, she wrote, echoes truths I buried. Meet. The revelation shattered paradigms. Alex, no longer transmigrator but mirror to Kane's muse. His jump, a synchronicity of souls. Fates not forced but resonant. They met her in Portland, coffee house hushed, her eyes, gray like Ronan's, brimming contrition. I wrote him as monster to exorcise pain. You redeemed him. Reconciliation flowed. Family mended. Kane collaborating on Alex's adaptation. Threads weaving meta-tapestry. Ronan wept in Alex's arms post-meal. Full circle. Autumn closed with harvest moon. Their love matured. Deep as roots, wild as tides. One eve, bonfire crackling, Ronan pulled Alex close. Our story, what now? Alex smiled, hand on belly. Subtle swell. IVF's quiet miracle from Spring Consults. Chapter next. With him. Ronan's joy burst. Kiss fierce, hands cradling. Ours. The novel ended not in tragedy, but grace. Villains human. Love's freedom a choice. Eldridge to haven. Pages to pulse. Fates together. Identities affirmed. Compassion the ink.